Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch at the Loft, another exciting episode. And we are very excited about our next guest here, our guest home cook. We don't go with chef.
No.
Apparently, a chef means you're a professional in a professional kitchen. Well, he's a home cook.
Yes.
But your other title is reporter. This is Tawney Beans from the Akron Beacon Journal. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be here.
Thank you for doing this, and so appropriate because you are doing a lot of food reporting, restaurant reporting. Tell us about all the work you're doing at the Beacon.
Yeah, so essentially a lot of my job does entail writing about restaurants that are opening, closing, features that they may have and things like that. So I do a lot of restaurant reporting as well as a variety of other, topics.
The restaurant business is a very difficult business. In a sense, you become a business writer also, talking about restaurants closing or the challenge of keeping a restaurant opening, adapting to changing trends and tastes. After interviewing all these restaurant owners and getting a sense of it, this is a tough business.
Yes, the margins are very slim for restaurant owners for sure. They have a lot of challenges, and a lot of the challenges they face are completely outside of their control, frankly, just the environment that they're in, and they have to make it work with what they have.
Your body of work and all the things you've reported on at the Beacon Journal, well beyond the restaurant scene. You have done all kinds of reporting on all kinds of topics. We were talking about your story on the need for foster families in the community and all that. What else do you write about, and what maybe might be one of your favorite stories or topics?
Yeah, so I write about a lot of different kind of enterprise stories, long form journalistic pieces. I have written about food deserts that in Akron, actually in Summit County, but the vast majority of them are in Akron, as well as issues regarding keeping dogs in Summit County animal control, and like kind of the issue that Akron has with loose dogs and cats and stuff like that. I've also done a lot of things. I did a story about moms that were trying to kind of better their situation through some career training. So I did a series on that, and just various other things. I mean, kind of if something pops up, there's a very good chance I could cover it, even if it has nothing to do with food.
Speaking of food, we put this call out and you responded, and I was so thrilled. I read what you wrote and I thought, you've got to be on. This is just a perfect. Speaking of food, what are we making today?
So we are making chili, and I will tell you right now, even though my last name is Beans, I'm not a huge fan of beans. And this is the only chili that I like, and I absolutely love it. It's just personally one of my favorites. I even have the cookbook that I borrowed from the person that introduced me to this chili. So yeah.
Show the camera the notes you have in this book. This is a friend gave you this recipe, but then over the years, your friend that provided this recipe.
Yeah.
If you want to name call her out there, can you see? Take a look at all of the handwritten notes. So this is a recipe that has been perfected.
Yeah.
Tell me about your friend.
So I have a friend named Deb Berry. She used to work at the Beacon Journal.
Uh-huh.
And something else I do is I do a lot of pet sitting. So I pet sit for her. And her husband Brian are just wonderful. And a lot of times when I visit them, we'll have dinner. And she made this chili, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just chili, whatever. And I just kept eating it, and I was like, I need the recipe for this. This is so good. And I've made this at least half a dozen times since then. And I just absolutely love it. It's affordable, it's easy, it's hearty. It's just like everything you'd want, at least for me personally, in a chili. So
before we get into the actual cooking segment, let's just review. You've prepared all the ingredients. There was a lot of prep, cutting, chopping. I was just talking. You were doing all the work. So tell me, what do we have here?
Okay, so we have a pound of ground beef. I like lean ground beef because this is also something I use for, health reasons. It's pretty healthy. So it's like 93% lean, 7% fat. We have some chicken broth, various beans. There's kidney beans, black beans. We have tomato sauce, tomato paste, sweet corn, as well as various spices that are up here. And then we have onion, red bell pepper, garlic, sugar, vinegar, oil, vegetable oil, and sriracha. So together, this will make a very delicious bubbling chili.
Your friend, very generous to just share the recipe. There are people who keep their recipe secret. What's your philosophy on if you have a good recipe? Obviously, you like to share, but some people keep the family recipe secret. What's your philosophy on that?
So I get it. I honestly, if it's a recipe you're making money off of, I respect it. I've had, I've talked to some people that through work, chefs or bakers or anything, that they absolutely, like, they may not even be comfortable letting me in the kitchen because they are so particular about their recipes for their items. And I can respect that. Most of the time, if you're a home cook, I'm like, it's not, this isn't make or break. I have a whole library of recipes I've organized on my phone, and I share those with everyone that wants them. So I am very grateful that she allowed me to bring this and share it with everybody and with you, because it's a really great recipe, and I think that a lot of people would love it if they just knew it existed.
This is awesome. Tawney Beans, a reporter with the Akron Beacon Journal, is our guest here on Lunch at the Loft, and we're going to come back in just a second and get into the actual cooking segment. Thanks for watching. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Lunch at the Loft. We are here with our special guest, Tawney Beans, reporter from the Akron Beacon Journal, and doing a lot of restaurant reporting, and you certainly enjoy cooking, so we're so glad that you've joined us for this. Now we're in the cooking segment, where we're doing what we call the sizzle cam here. What are we doing?
Yeah, we are just cooking some onions and red bell pepper. So we're just going to let this sizzle down until it's soft. I think it's about 3 minutes we're supposed to do this, and then we will be adding some of our spices, tomato paste, and garlic.
In case you're just joining us, we are making chili from a special recipe that came from a friend. And you were saying earlier you don't normally like chili, but this is a chili recipe that you love.
Yes, it sure is. I definitely love this recipe. I've made it many a time.
Wonderful. We're glad you're here making it for us. What's the next step? This takes a minute to sizzle and do its thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just cook it down, and then I will be adding some things over here, some of the spices, the tomato paste, and the garlic. And then once we get that down, we'll start adding the ground beef, I believe.
Very good. Okay. So tell me, you grew up in Talmadge. We always say this is the Akron area. We grew up in the Akron area, and you love being a reporter in your hometown. Is there something great about being able to stay in your hometown and do what you love here?
Yeah, I mean, there really is an advantage to, having grown up in the area. I mean, you just generally know the history of the place better versus if I went to, some other state, I'd be starting from scratch where I have all of the, knowledge of growing up here and knowing, oh, this is an institutional business or restaurant or figure. I'm not having to relearn all of that because I just learned it growing up.
You were sharing earlier that the analytics that Gannett has that shows us people are really into restaurant reviews or writing about restaurants.
Yes. Yeah. People really enjoy the restaurant coverage, especially as a foodie myself. I know that if I wasn't a reporter and I was looking at the Beacon Journal or honestly any other type of medium, I would be looking for restaurant coverage. I'm always looking for a new place to eat, new foods to try, and different cuisine to eat. So
growing up in Akron in the Talmadge area, what was your favorite restaurant? Or is there a restaurant you remember as a kid that went away and you wish it would come back?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a lot of things like growing up. I always remember the big boy that was on the Talmadge Circle. Yes. And seeing of course, seeing like the statue and everything like that. And then they still have them in Cincinnati, which is where I went to college. So it was kind of cool to go down and be like, oh my gosh, you still exist. They're still here. So,
there was a story that one class at Talmadge High School took the big boy as a senior prank. Oh, yeah.
I did not hear about
that.
Now,
there's no longer a big boy on Talmadge Circle. Right. Okay, I have that. Yeah. Do you remember there was the Ground Round, of course, that was at Chapel Hill? See, now I'm a little older, so I go back to thinking about even Chi-Chi's. And there has been
Oh,
some discussion about the Chi-Chi's Mexican chain might come back in Ohio, which would
I
be cool.
heard that.
That
Yeah.
this, so I always think about those are like as the ones that would be at the Chapel Hill Mall, had all those restaurants and the Brown Derby at Chapel Hill and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I love eating out. And that is one thing that's of many things great about your job. You get to visit restaurants.
Yes, I do. I have, I mean, two on my list right now that open in, that I have to go and visit. And yeah, I mean, I get to visit restaurants. I would say like maybe like once a week or so. But sometimes there's weeks where there might be three restaurants I have to visit. It just depends on the news cycle and what people are interested in.
Share with the audience the idea that you do not take any complimentary food from a restaurant. You turn in the receipts as a business expense, as part of the production of the story and the creating the content.
Right.
You have to be unbiased as a journalist or reviewer or reporter to give the audience an accurate depiction and understanding of the story. You can't take any free food.
Yeah, I think that's a really big assumption, and or misconception about being a restaurant reporter, which it makes sense, but I find it kind of funny. And people always say, "Oh my gosh, you must get so much free food," and I'm like, I can't take free food. I do have to pay for it, and then as I said, I get a reimbursement, but because it's a journalism ethics thing. I can't, if I were to take some free food, for example, and then I write maybe something that restaurant owner didn't like, I can't, they could say, hey, well, we gave you this, so you need to write this. And that's not acceptable. So
is it difficult at all for you to, it must be hard at times if there's something you don't like, or you have to represent it accurately. How do you balance that with you want to satisfy the audience and you have to be a true journalist? But what if something at the restaurant isn't right? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, usually we can be in terms of if there's just something that we don't like, we'll probably just say, this wasn't for us. A lot of times we will focus on the things we did like because, I have specific tastes,
Oh, sure.
and I respect that. And a lot of times I know it's a me thing. It's not a restaurant. It's not them, most of the time. So, there's no reason to be like, well, this was, I really didn't like this, or this was horrible, but I know it's just my taste buds. And it might be someone else's favorite dish in the world. And maybe even someone else that I am dining with, they might really like it. So usually it's just a matter of focusing on what you do like. And we still will write and say, oh, this was fine, but it may not have been like our favorite thing,
Sure. You're going to speak at your college, or you're going to have an opportunity to speak maybe to young journalists, people coming in to the business. What advice do you give to those that are looking at journalism now as their major? We have a lot of college students here. We have journalism majors and media majors. What advice do you give those say, hey, you're a reporter for the Beacon. I want to get into business. I want to study this in college. What advice do you give the up and coming or rising stars?
I usually tell them, I mean, you have to have confidence, and you have to really want it. And especially something I was told whenever I was, kind of an up and coming reporter, was, you have to be curious. That's like the number one thing. And unfortunately, you can go to journalism school as much as you want. They cannot teach you to be nosy and curious. So really fostering that is important, and making sure that you're doing your due diligence in all other ways that you've been trained, but you have to be willing to ask the hard questions and get to the bottom of something.
Sure. And you are a reporter with experience, but also a young person at the same time.
Yeah.
As you were walking in, we were discussing, and when you graduated from Talmadge, I'm thinking, okay, and some of these restaurants that I remember going to, they were out of business maybe before you were born, perhaps.
Yeah, they probably there's a good chance. There's a good chance that they were.
Yeah. But so you're doing you have an opportunity to speak to the college students, or maybe your professor later today, or is there something coming up?
Yeah, it'll be later on. So I will be. I love talking to journalism students. Like it really is a big passion of mine.
That's wonderful.
Because I always appreciated when I was in school, being spoken to. I mean, having a professional that was in my field that I was hoping to go into speak to me and be real with me about, what is it like to be a journalist? I was always taught it's a lifestyle, not just a job. So I wanted to get as much information as I can. And now it's, it brings me a lot of joy to share that with others.
And speaking of joy in what we do, what kind of feedback do you get, and how do you handle the audience now, the media consuming audience? It's a challenge. We have to be thick-skinned at times. You get some feedback from the reader. And what advice do you give to somebody about what you say? Hey, you got to be thick-skinned. And how do you handle response from the audience? And how do you write for today's audience or the Akron audience?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for the most part, you just have to have, I think it's all a little bit of a work-life balance, because it is a lifestyle, but, there has to be a separation for your own sanity, especially. I mean, I'm sure anyone watching knows, like, if you focus solely on the news cycle, you will drive yourself a little insane.
Sure.
So you have to be able to separate. I mean, have your own hobbies, your own joys, your friends, your family, try and make it not be all consuming. So then when you do get that feedback, positive or negative, you're able to come to it with a, reasonable sense of mind and not take it so personally. And also having really great editors and people on your team that will back you up, or, aren't going to come down like ridiculously hard on you is, I think, a really big part of that. I mean, that's what creates the culture of the newsroom as being like a safe space versus not a safe space.
Sure. I love this whole show that we do here, because I always describe it. It's a podcast where we just happen to be cooking.
Yeah.
So what's the next step here in making our chili?
That is a wonderful question.
We're simmering. And again, the audio crew, they do a very good job of getting the sound of the sizzling. I always look over and say, are we getting the sizzling? There it is.
Yeah. I'm going to.
The audio is very important on the in cooking. You got to hear it. Actually, we have the technology now. I think the audience at home can just smell how good. We have smell cam that they can smell just how good this is. This is a very difficult show to do when you're hungry. So the most important thing about doing a cooking show at lunch is to eat a big breakfast. Don't skip breakfast and then do a lunchtime cooking show. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
So when does this go in? Oh, this happens now.
We're gonna go ahead
big moment.
and get some of this in here.
There it is. Boy, that overhead cam shot. Whoever rigged that camera to the ceiling did an outstanding job of engineering this whole setup here. That shot looks really great. There it is.
We're gonna break it up.
And of course, we were saying earlier, when we designed this kitchen, we didn't want to, well, it wasn't in the budget to do a big gourmet kitchen anyway, but we wanted to create a kitchen that would just be a normal Akron kitchen.
Right.
Here in our complex, we have the Goodrich Apartments. And of course, many people growing up in the Akron area lived at Timber Top. And, or at the dorms at the University of Akron, or this, where you had a tiny kitchen, if you had a kitchen at all. And so we wanted it to be something that was just real. So it's just, it's engineered that way on purpose and to fit the budget.
Yeah.
But as we're talking, and we're going to take a break here in a second, but I want to know your thoughts on the idea of the technology that allows, and social media, that allows citizen journalists and those in the community to start their own news pages, and that becomes prevalent in the media business, and in the major news organizations need to respond, or almost in a way compete. But we were talking about this earlier, a true responsibility that the journalist has to understand the power of the written word in the media and putting information out there, and how important it is to be accurate and fair over being first.
Yeah, it is really important. I mean, that's why in J school, as we call it, I mean, like, you have an entire course on ethics. So,
yes.
And that's something really important. And I think it's great that, I mean, social media has just like really ballooned this whole, I guess you could say citizen reporter, in the sense of, people just share what they see, which I think is good. I mean, that's how you are able to, say, hey, this is happening in my community. There's an accident. There's this. We need to help this person. And there's so many positives to that. But yeah, I mean, I would say it is really important you have to think of the ethics. Same thing. It's like, I don't take food for free. That's something that someone who may not be trained doesn't know that they shouldn't do. Exactly. And then there's, and that's a very basic one, but it can get more and more complicated as you I guess progress, depending on what you cover, the situations you may find yourself in, and things like that. So having a code of ethics and abiding by that you have to first know what the code of ethics are. And then, yeah, just kind of like being responsible to your community. And, they help hold you accountable, and that's
Sure.
important.
The Beacon Journal, obviously, right here in our hometown, people might not understand that there are local journalists every day covering our hometown in a way that if we didn't have that, that would be a true loss for our community. Explain, certainly, you can talk to this better than anybody, how important that local journalism is in serving our community.
Yes. Yeah. It makes a big difference when you have people. I mean, let's just say we didn't have any local news or local journalists at all. I mean, if something really important happens, do you want someone from New York flying in that doesn't know this area, doesn't know the politics, doesn't know the culture, and try and report accurately on it? I'm not saying they can't do that. But I'm saying I feel like, they also wouldn't have all these connections in the community and understand just the heart of what makes Akron and the surrounding communities what they are. So it helps with accuracy, it helps with community building, and it helps on, with the general things of making a good paper.
Before we go to break, I'll ask you one more question. That is, your favorite thing to write about. You're doing all this work on restaurant reporting and all the foodie kind of segment, but you've done so much. What was your favorite? What is your favorite thing to write about or report on?
Oh, it probably is food. I do love doing stuff with restaurants. I love restaurant owners and seeing the vision that they have. Like so many of them are so incredibly creative. I just can't even imagine. And just the concepts of their restaurants, and it's not always even, the decor or the what their menus look like. It's what's on the plate. I mean, you just don't even imagine that some of the ingredients they use will work together, or the concept of this meal, and then you put it in your mouth and you're like, it's just a whole new world of experience. So I really love the restaurant things we do. We do a story every month about all the restaurant openings. That's one of my favorite things. We do this every week, but we have 4 people that do it, so it's on a monthly rotation. That we do what we call local flavors, where we go and do features on restaurants. I love doing that as well. So I would say anything related to restaurants is probably my number one.
That's great. Tawney Beans, our guest here on Lunch at the Loft, making what we know is going to be delicious chili. As we say, this is a podcast where there just happens to be cooking, having a great conversation, and stick with us because there's more to come, along with the best segment of the show, Feed My Crew, coming up right after this. Stay with us. We are back here at Lunch at the Loft, and of course, through the magic of television, we do the cooking segment here, and we are, take a little break, make sure all the things are cooking. So sometimes we need to take a really long commercial break. So thank you for sticking with us. Our guest right now, Tawney Beans, from the Akron Beacon Journal, and thank you for taking the time to do this and to entertain us and cook for the crew and give us insight into the world of reporting and all the work you do in restaurant reporting around Akron. What is the next step here as we progress through the cooking of the chili?
Yeah, so the ground beef has been cooking, and our next step is to add some of the beans and the corn. So we'll have the kidney beans and black beans, and we will add some corn, as well as a cup and a half of chicken broth.
There it is. Again, the overhead cam just looks great. And the folks, you can't tell because you're not here. You're watching this on television, but it smells delicious. I'm hoping our microphone is picking up the sound of the sizzling and all this happening. Audio, very important in a cooking show. You got to hear the sizzle. It sells it. It does. You enjoy cooking.
Yes, I do.
And you picked this, but this is fun. What else do you like to make?
Oh, I make a very wide range of things. I actually meal prep every Saturday or Sunday, so I make about 5 days worth of food all in about 7 hours on a weekly basis. So usually I try and make some sort of chicken dish. So I have a like herb chicken that I make that has a lot of fresh herbs and it has lemon and things like that, and I let it marinate overnight. And the chicken actually turns out really good. But it's really the juices and everything that are left over from that. It's so good that I'll usually like save it and use it for something else.
Do you entertain? You have dinner parties, or do you have people over you cook for others too?
Yeah, I usually will. Usually when I cook for other people, it's something small, like it's a pastry. My mom, she always has a ton of pastry dishes and stuff, so I've been trying to learn how to make those. And so usually maybe I'll make something and I'll bring it to someone. My apartment is not quite big enough to host a lot of people.
Okay.
So, but I do have a friend who has a home that she hosts a ton of things, and I will bring a dish to that, and people will eat it.
So give us right here live on the air. Tell us about this experience. Is it difficult to cook while being interviewed? In other words, if you're cooking for a group and somebody comes up into your kitchen and starts talking to you, do you say, "Hey, I'm trying to focus on this"?
Oh no, I'm pretty good at multitasking. I'm usually cooking and listening at the same time. I will cook and I will watch TV or I'll watch something on my phone, or I'll cook and I'll listen to a podcast. So I guess I'm not usually talking back, but I am usually like receiving some sort of data and thinking about it and doing things at the same time for, like I said, 6 or 7 hours at a time on a weekly basis. So, no, I'm pretty used to it. It's not too bad.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to let this simmer. This has a little bit more time to go, so we'll take a long commercial break. Yeah. That'll give it this. Through the magic of television, we're going to come back and it's going to be ready. It's amazing how it's on live TV. Can you believe this? How does this work? It's the magic of television. Tawney Beans, our guest here, a reporter, of course, from the Akron Beacon Journal, and we're thrilled that she's here making the chili. We're having a great time here at lunch at the Loft, and we'll be back with the final segment, Feed My Crew, right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to Lunch at the Loft. My favorite part, the segment, Feed My Crew, the whole crew standing by, waiting to taste delicious chili. Thank you so much for coming in, spending the time to make this for us.
Oh, no problem.
This has been a blast. And we were talking just during the commercial break about your experience, and I have the shared experience of writing for the school paper in high school. And of course, I did the media program and video production. And to me, it's so important that they have journalism in high school and the opportunities for students to learn to write and to produce videos and to produce content. And you at Talmadge, you wrote for the paper, and you were glad you did it.
Oh yeah, yes, wrote for the Devil's Tale. I'm really grateful. It definitely helped me when I was in college and kind of get me ahead in terms of just being familiar with the five W's and an H, how and all of that good stuff. Especially, I mean, even if someone wanted to take it and was not going to go into journalism specifically, it's great for media literacy. It's just it's a fun class. It's a fun thing to have students participate in. And I think that it can teach them lifelong lessons about talking to people and just various other, really soft skills that they can use.
We all have that one teacher that influenced us. And for you, it was your journalism teacher.
Yes. Yeah. Miss Hedrick at Talmadge, she was the best. And she always really encouraged me, and really did help make my dream of becoming a journalist come true.
Journalism, a wonderful profession. Certainly, being in education, being a teacher, a wonderful and noble, admirable profession. So we love it. And our teachers, especially the ones that had a big impact on our lives. Speaking of having a big impact, we are going to taste some chili. This is it, the big moment. Feed My Crew. Again, thank you so much for making it. It looks delicious.
No problem.
It literally just came right off of the stove. Come on in, everybody.
I do have this. I need to put this stuff in.
Oh, here, I'm jumping the gun. Let's throw the final ingredients in.
Yeah.
This is where we get to use the overhead cam again. See, I'm directing from the floor. Caden loves it when I do that. We get to use the overhead cam one more time.
Yeah. It's
whoever set up these cameras, boy, they just did a phenomenal job.
It's just
what do we have here? What are we adding?
It's a few teaspoons of sriracha.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to rinse this off.
All right.
And Then we'll have, I'll need a little bit more to rinse it off.
See that overhead cam again. Look at that. There it is. That's
And then-
directing from the floor. They asked me not to do that, and it's like backseat driving, as you say.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm doing, from telling them which button to push.
2 teaspoons of sugar. And then 4 teaspoons of vinegar.
Mm.
And then, of course, as always, you can always put in a little more salt and a little more pepper. And then you just mix it all up. Let it really get in there.
Now would be a great opportunity for me to say, if you would like to be in the audience here on a recording or a live broadcast of Lunch at the Loft, just go to WAOH.tv, go to the contact form and say, I would like to be on the Feed My Crew segment. We will teach you how to run audio and run one of the cameras, because that's the requirement, is you have to be part of the crew, but we can do that in about 5 minutes, I think, right? No.
Yeah.
It takes years to learn how to do all of this. But we'd love to have you in the studio audience. You're welcome to join us. Just go to WAOH.tv.
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to get out of the way. Everybody get in the middle of this. Here it is. We have a studio guest and the crew today. There we go. Matt Zorns, you're on the other side of me. See, I'm getting out of the way. And who wants to serve it up?
I'll serve it.
All right.
Should work.
Well, thank you.
Oh, no, you're a long.
Okay. This is where the live broadcast runs on autopilot, as we just leave everything broadcasting. And Gaten is dancing for Chilla.
Oh, no problem.
He's excited for Chilla.
It tastes as good as it smells. We're in business.
We're in good shape.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure. I hope, oh yeah.
And we
This is the best part of the show, isn't it? Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you again as we wrap up the broadcast. Tawney Beans, a reporter for the Akron Beacon Journal, bringing us all kinds of great restaurant reports and a variety of assignments you get from the Beacon Journal. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no
There it is.
problem.
All right, crew, what do we say?
Tawney, this is delicious. Thank you.
Well, all right. Tawny, my taste buds are having a party right now. This is awesome.
That's amazing. This is amazing.
This right here, this is why we do this show, is that the magic moment. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
This has been a blast. And thank you for watching Lunch at the Loft right here on WAOH. We have a great time right here, appropriately starting a TV station to serve Akron in an old rubber factory. No better place.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, here we go. The big moment. I am certain. Here we go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, it's fitting that your last name is Beans because you know what to do with them.
There it is.
So serious.
We knew. There it is. Thank you for watching. This has been Lunch at the Loft, and we'll see you on the next one.